In a small Australian town, a series of warning signs went unnoticed, signs of a woman whose anger, trauma, and emotional instability had been building for years. What began as arguments and unpredictable behavior eventually turned into one of the most shocking crimes in the country's history. This is the true story of Katherine Knight, a case that stunned investigators and challenged long-held beliefs about human behavior and domestic violence. Imagine a person whose past was filled with emotional wounds, violent patterns, and ignored red flags, yet no one stepped in early enough. Now imagine what happens when all of that pain turns into something no one could have predicted. Her crime didn't just break the law, it broke society's expectations and forced the world to question how dangerous untreated anger can become. The crime committed by Katherine Knight stood out not only because it resulted in the loss of a life, but because the acts she carried out afterward showed a level of calmness that deeply disturbed investigators. Rather than behaving like someone acting in fear or panic, she acted in a way that suggested planning and awareness. This alone made experts question her mental state and emotional detachment from the seriousness of what she had done. Police later explained that the way she behaved after the killing suggested that she was not overwhelmed by what had happened. Instead, she moved from one action to another, as if she was following steps she had already thought about beforehand. Her ability to carry out tasks that required patience and precision showed a chilling absence of remorse in those moments. What surprised investigators the most was that her actions did not seem spontaneous. Many violent crimes happen in the heat of anger, but in this case, the events after the attack were controlled and organized. This is why the crime was considered extremely severe, not only because of the act itself, but because of the methodical way she continued afterward. Experts in criminal psychology often point to her behavior as an example of how personal anger, resentment, and long-term emotional issues can grow into something dangerous when left untreated. Katherine had a history of conflicts, emotional instability, and violent tendencies, yet the seriousness of her behavior was not fully addressed earlier in her life. This allowed her frustrations to build over time. The deliberate nature of her actions also raised questions about intention. Investigators believed that the way she arranged the scene showed she wanted others, especially the victim's family, to experience shock and emotional pain. This displayed a desire to extend the harm beyond the victim, which made the crime even more alarming. Her actions also reflected an unusual level of comfort with tools and tasks that the average person would not handle easily. Because of her long experience working in a slaughterhouse, she had developed skills that she later used in the crime. This familiarity removed the hesitation that might stop another person, making the situation far more dangerous. Another disturbing element was how she arranged the surroundings after the crime. Instead of leaving things in chaos, she placed objects and items in specific ways, almost as if she wanted the scene to send a message. Investigators saw this as a sign of psychological intention rather than impulsive violence, making the act seem ritualistic in nature. The emotional disconnect she showed also raised concerns about her ability to understand the gravity of her actions. When people commit severe wrongdoing, they often show fear, regret, or confusion. In her case, none of that was present at the scene. The lack of emotional response made professionals question her empathy and mental stability. Authorities later described her behavior as cold and calculated, noting that her actions showed a level of control uncommon in domestic violence cases. Because of this controlled behavior, the judge concluded that the crime displayed extreme moral corruption, which required the harshest possible sentence under Australian law. Long before the crime took place, there were already signs that Katherine Knight struggled with emotional control and violent reactions. People close to her reported that she could shift from calm to aggressive very quickly, especially during arguments. These early behaviors showed a pattern that, if addressed properly, might have prevented the tragedy that happened later in her life. Her childhood environment also played a major role in shaping her emotional difficulties. She grew up in a home filled with conflict, instability, and negative influences. Children raised in such surroundings often struggle to understand healthy ways of dealing with anger or disappointment. Instead, they may learn harmful reactions, which become habits as they grow older. Teachers and relatives later said that she showed signs of emotional disturbance even at a young age. She could be kind and gentle at times, but she could also become threatening when upset. These changes in behavior were warning signs that she needed psychological guidance, yet she never received proper help or support. As she became older, her relationships reflected the same patterns of emotional imbalance. She had several partners throughout her life, and many of them reported experiencing fear during arguments. Some said she had physically attacked them in moments of anger. However, these incidents were often dismissed or treated lightly, allowing the patterns to continue. Her job in a slaughterhouse also contributed to her emotional desensitization. While many people work in such environments without developing harmful tendencies, her unstable emotional background combined with daily exposure to violence made her reactions more unpredictable. This combination is believed to have played a part in how she later handled conflict. Some of her partners tried to warn others about her behavior. They told friends and authorities that she became aggressive during arguments and sometimes used weapons in threats. However, because these incidents happened in domestic settings, they were not always taken seriously, which left her partners vulnerable. Another major warning sign was her tendency to hold on to grudges. Instead of letting go of past conflicts, she kept anger inside her for long periods. This habit made small disagreements grow into deep resentments, and those resentments played a role in the eventual crime. When a person refuses to release anger, it becomes harder for them to think clearly during emotional situations. Her emotional state also affected her ability to form healthy relationships. She became overly attached, controlling, and sometimes obsessed with her partners. This lack of balance created tension in her relationships, leading to breakups, arguments, and repeated cycles of emotional turmoil. Many professionals later said that if she had received therapy or intervention earlier, the tragedy might have been prevented. Her behavior showed clear signs of someone who needed psychological care. Unfortunately, the system around her did not provide it, and those close to her were unable to handle the severity of her emotional instability. The case of Katherine Knight forced people to rethink the assumption that extreme violence only comes from men. Society often expects women to be less aggressive, more nurturing, and less physically harmful. So when a woman commits a severe crime, it challenges long-held beliefs about human behavior. Her actions shocked experts because they did not fit the traditional image of female offenders, which made the case even more widely discussed. Many criminologists noted that her crime demonstrated how violence is not determined by gender, but by a combination of emotional instability, past trauma, environment, and personal choices. This reminder helped shift conversations away from stereotypes and toward understanding the deeper psychological issues that can exist in anyone, regardless of gender. It also highlighted the need to treat early warning signs seriously, no matter who displays them. Her case became a powerful example for domestic violence researchers. Often, society focuses mainly on male aggressors in relationships, but her partners had reported fear, threats, and physical harm long before the crime happened. This showed that domestic violence can also occur the other way around, and that ignoring violence simply because it comes from a woman can have devastating consequences. Investigators explained that many people around her did not take her earlier threats seriously simply because she was a woman. Some assumed she could not cause serious harm, while others thought she was only reacting emotionally without real intention. This lack of intervention contributed to the situation becoming worse over time and allowed her violent habits to go unchecked. The judge in her case emphasized that the crime displayed a level of moral wrongdoing far beyond what anyone could have expected. By sentencing her to life imprisonment without parole, the judge set an important legal precedent that violent actions must be judged based on severity, not the gender of the offender. This decision helped reinforce equality in the justice system. Media coverage of the case also fueled discussions on how society views female criminals. Many outlets focused on the shock of a woman committing such a crime instead of focusing on the root causes behind her behavior. This reaction showed that society still struggles with confronting violence when it does not fit expected patterns. Experts also pointed out that her actions highlighted the importance of mental health awareness. Her long history of emotional instability, aggressive outbreaks, and previous violent incidents were all signs that intervention was needed. The case demonstrated how failing to address psychological issues can lead to severe consequences, regardless of whether the person is male or female. Her crime also led to conversations about the pressures inside toxic relationships. Many people remain in harmful relationships because they underestimate the danger or believe that leaving will solve the problem. Her partner, John Price, had tried to end the relationship multiple times but struggled to fully escape due to threats and fear. This reflected the complex emotional reality faced by many victims of domestic violence. In the aftermath, her case became a study topic in criminology programs, highlighting how unusual cases can reveal broader social issues. Students and researchers studied her actions not to sensationalize them, but to understand how violence can emerge from a combination of personal history, emotional disturbance, and societal neglect. The story of Katherine Knight is a reminder that violence does not come from gender. It comes from the storms people carry within themselves. Had her early warning signs been addressed, the tragedy that unfolded might have been prevented. Her case teaches us the importance of noticing emotional instability, seeking help, and ensuring that no signs of harm, whether from a man or a woman, are ever ignored again.